keep hearing grayish this, grayish that. Grayish specifically was the hero for a long time. But last year, the conversation quietly shifted. People stopped telling me they wanted grayish and started saying things like softer, earthier, something with a little bit of soul. I'm a soul man. I got that wintertime bass in my voice. That little something is a little thing called mushroom. Today I'm not asking if mushroom neutrals are trendy. I'm showing you why they're actually replacing grayish as that go-to neutral and why that matters for your home in 2026. So quick roadmap here, everyone. We'll define mushroom neutrals, compare how they behave versus gray and grayish in light and dark palettes, dig into some undertones. Yes, the actual colors like yellow, green, purple, taupe, some pairing rules, mistakes people keep on making, and practical takeaways you can use the day you paint. Firstly, what is a mushroom neutral? Mushroom neutrals, it's kind of a family of colors rather than a single color to me. Think of it as gray, taupe, and a little damp stone walked into a bar and decided to merge and combine. It's grayer than beige, browner than gray, and often carries a violet, mauve, or sometimes a subtle green cast that shifts intelligently throughout the day. It's soft, earthy, and crucially, forgiving with wood, metal, and warm whites. Where gray can feel like it's sitting on a scale between blue and black, mushroom neutrals sit on a layered, tiered organic axis. Stone, earth, mushroom. This matters because mushroom neutrals hold warmth without yellowing, and they hold depth without going muddy. They read modern and grounded at the same time. That duality is what designers are reaching for in 2026. Whether you care about what designers say or not, they're saying it, just putting it out there. So let's turn this theory into practical behavior. Gray versus mushroom in the real world. Lighting changes everything. Gray often exposes blue or green undertones under LED or northern light. Bright midday sun can bleach cool grays into very sterile tones at best, jarring at worst. Mushroom tones, however, they were practically made to be observed at different times of the day. They'll show up as stone in bright sun, a soft mauve gray in overcast light, and a gentle olive mushroom under warm evening bulbs. That movement is not a bug. It's not a glitch in the matrix. It's a feature. It's why we're picking these colors, because they're fun and they change and evolve. So let's compare them. Gray can read flat in warm light spaces, can go cool or blue in LED light, often requiring careful supporting finishes. Mushroom, it shifts, it grows. I was gonna say it blooms, but is it mushrooms? Do they bloom? Or are those the spores? I don't know. It keeps depth in low light, it reads warm without being yellow, it pairs with warm woods and tolerates mixed metal palettes. It's all really good stuff. Yes, a little more volatile. Some mushrooms are maybe a little more poisonous than others, but hey, I love a portobello. Let's talk about undertones for a second, the boring but essential part. Actual colors, not marketing fluff. If you want to use mushroom intelligently, you must know the undertones. Here's what shows up and where. One thing you'll almost never see with mushrooms are yellow golden undertones. It's not really a classic mushroom sign. If a candidate leans strongly yellow, it behaves more like a grayish or even a beige. So use these if you want cozy sunlight, but I would avoid if your room has a lot of cool steel or bright white finishes. Sometimes you get green or even olive undertones with mushroom. This is more common in mushroom adjacent colors. Very subtle herbaceous feel that keeps the neutral feeling natural. It pairs beautifully with things like walnut, oak, or even clay if you want to go a little more complementary, and of course other moody greens. Watch it in north facing rooms, however, because it can read cooler there. Usually green can sometimes go into like teal or bluey cool cyan territory, so watch for that. One of my favorite undertones with mushrooms are mauve and purple undertones. This is the secret sauce, everyone. A tiny violet or mauve cast gives mushroom its refined stone-like quality. It stops the color from going flat and prevents it from reading too brown. In low light, it reads richer, and in bright light, it softens into a sophisticated warm gray. Then you have your tan undertones, the classic earthy spine of many mushroom tones. Think clay or damp earth. These make the color grounded and approachable. Too much taupe and you're simply back in taupe or even beige territory. Then you have your charcoal, gray, stone mushrooms. Deeper mushroom variants borrow a touch of charcoal or slate gray, which gives drama and architectural weight without becoming a harsh black. The practical rule of thumb here, if you see a swatch and you can't identify any of these subtle color casts, it's probably not a true mushroom. Because I believe in you. I think you can figure it out on your own. I have faith. The color you're looking at, it's probably just a neutral that wants to be something else. Nondescript. Talking about LRV next, how much light a mushroom will reflect. The color. LRV, light reflectance value, it tells you a lot. Every single paint color has it from all the major paint companies. A 0 to 100 lightness score, you can call it. High LRV mushroom colors are airy, stone-like, usually work pretty well in smaller rooms that need extra light but want a warm feel. Your mid LRV mushrooms, like 40 to 60, are the majority. They're flexible, they're used on walls and even trim, a true foundation color. And then there's the low LRV mushrooms. You're like 40 or even 30 below. They're dramatic, moody, helps make cozy spaces like bedrooms and libraries feel cinematic and elegant. In practice, pick the LRV based on room size and orientation. Don't assume low LRV equals bad or accent wall. That's it. Low LRV mushroom is luxurious in the right space. High LRV mushrooms is cozy and bright without being white. Now I want to talk about the pairing ecosystem. What mushroom actually wants to live with. Think of mushroom as social. It wants partners to help populate itself and also to give it context. If you slap mushroom against everything white and metal, it still looks good, but it sings when it's surrounded by warm woods, soft creamy whites for trim like cloud white, white dove, schoolhouse white, metals that aren't too chrome heavy. Brushed brass is good, a little softer look. Aged nickel, you can go matte black if you want contrast. And then of course, muted jewel accents. Deep teal, muted ruby, olive, or sage. Materials like plaster, clay, stone finishes, textural pairings are the secret to making mushrooms feel curated. I know some of you are like, why do we need to care about what manufacturers and markets are doing? The signals matter here. This is where the proof angle is useful. Look at the ecosystem. Paint brands are promoting more mushroom adjacent chips, switching from the cooler gray palettes to warmer, more complex neutrals. They're doing that because people are wanting them. They're craving them. Cabinet, countertops, tile vendors, they're pairing warmer veined stones and warmer woods as default samples. Designers are moving to palettes where the neutral is the foundation, not a background filler. Those ecosystem changes aren't fashion whims. They reflect supply chains, consumer preference, and the reality that homes now have mixed lighting and mixed materials, and mushroom handles that complexity better than other neutrals. And here are some common mistakes people are making with mushroom neutrals in their home. Number one, assuming mushroom is just grayish. It's not. Test for undertone shifts. Number two, picking a mushroom paint color under store lighting. Huge mistake. Store chips lie. Paint large swatches and patches, or better yet, a sampleized peel and stick sample. Actual paint are used on these, so they're very, very reliable and super handy. Number three, pairing mushroom with ultra cool metals or stark whites that force it to lose character. Instead, bring warmth into the mix. Really lean into that cozy cocooning vibe. Number four, not considering LRV versus ceiling height. Low LRV in a low ceiling hallway can feel boxy. Use a lighter mushroom or reserve low LRV for an accent wall in those cases. Okay, how do we use mushroom? Some use cases. Where mushroom wins and where it doesn't. Wins, living room, bedrooms, kitchens with natural wood, dining rooms, bathrooms that want warmth without being beige, and exteriors that need depth without cowboy brown. Where I would avoid mushrooms, very bright, cool glazed modern kitchens that need ultra crisp sterility. Mushroom will add unnecessary complexity there. The bottom line, mushroom neutrals are not a passing fad. They're an evolved neutral that solves real design problems in 2026. Mixed lighting, mixed materials, and a desire for warmth without being beige. If you're choosing a neutral this year, test a mushroom. Give it a little nibble. I would start with a mid-tone mushroom that leans slightly mauve or stone. Pair it with a warm white trim. Add brass or warm nickel. Introduce wood and see what happens. It's probably going to be awesome. If you want, I'll follow this video with a ranked list of some of my favorite mushroom neutrals from major paint brands like Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, and Farrow & Ball. And if you subscribe and tell your friends about the paint people, then maybe I'll make some palettes room by room. What do you think? Tell me what you want next. Kitchens, exteriors, bedroom palettes? Let me know.